In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the Sharpen and Blur tool. I'm going to concentrate more on the Blur tool with this one and maybe save Sharpen for another one. What we're going to do is we're going to make me look. This was a day after working outside in the dirt. As you can tell, at the end of the day I was pretty dirty. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up so that I am clear in the photo, but the rest of the photo will be blurry, and I'll make it into a motion blur so it'll look like I'm almost leaping from space or something here. In any event, you'll see how this works. Now, it's quite a huge image, so I'm only looking at 20% of it. It's about 100 megabytes. So, I mean, I could resize it and do it, but what I'm going to do is we're just going to have to use bigger brushes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Select All, so the whole image is selected. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this tool that you haven't seen yet called the Quick Mask. So when you're painting a vehicle, a car, you basically, mask off the parts that you don't want to paint. Well, that's what we're going to do here. So you mask off the windows, you mask off some molding, if you have some that you don't want to take off. So we're masking a part of the picture. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to choose your paintbrush. And with the paintbrush, we're going to choose an option that's not available here, and it's called Scale, because we're going to have a little bit of a gap between what's blurry and what's not, sort of a transition. So we're going to bring up, I'm going to close it here, but we're going to bring up a new dockable dialog, the one for brushes. And we can choose our brushes here as well. This one's pretty good, hardness of 0.50 is okay. And down here I'm going to choose my spacing. So let's choose a spacing of, say, 5. So it's the percentage of width of the brush. That'll be sort of our transition part here. We can leave it at that. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is, because we have it masked, we're ready to paint. So because I have it a good size here, if you're doing it with your own image, just adjust your brush size so that it won't take you forever to do. So I'm going to sort of trace an outline here of myself. So I'm tracing an outline here. That's pretty good. I'll just go down here. Not bad. And you can go over the same part twice if you want to. It doesn't hurt anything. I'm going to select my outline here. Maybe I should have done it so that my arms wouldn't be all together like this. But anyways, you'll see what'll happen here at the end, and then I paint the rest. Make sure that you don't miss any spots. So you can see I gotta get over here, get that, and I could have, I could change my brush size right now and go a little bit faster, make it bigger. So hopefully you're doing the same thing as I'm doing this. Alright, it's not bad. I notice there's a couple spots here that I keep missing, but that's good enough for now. Just try and do a good job with picking spots that you might have missed. Over here, there we go. So it's pretty much all sort of masked in red. I'm going to grab this down here too. Okay, so the next thing we do is we click on Quick Mask again and watch what happens. It's basically protecting me in my little bubble. So what I'm going to do here is I'm ready for either I could sharpen and sharpen the outside, or I could blur. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Blur here, and enhancing would be the sharpening of parts of the image, and there's so many things here that we won't go through them all. I'm going to go into a motion blur. You can try the other ones, like Pixelize is pretty cool, but motion blur is here. And then what I can do with that is that I can take a look at part of the picture and see what it would look like. Now it's sort of looking at a part of the picture, so it's hard to see, but there I am. And I'm going to see what it looks like here with this particular, and there's that scale that we chose. So it's sort of transitioning between me and the sharp part and the blurry part. So we're going to choose a zoom type of blur. You can choose linear and radial and see what they do. And I'm going to blur it outward or inwards. Oh, let's blur it outwards. And I can change my length, and you'll see how that works too. You can try different things and see. I'm going to choose a length here. So I get half decent little lines. I'm going to click OK. And what it's going to do here, it's going to render this image. And this will take a minute, so I'm going to pause the video and then come back when it's done. And it finally rendered after a couple minutes. And this is what the motion blur looks like now. It's sort of a, I guess it was an outward blur. I can't remember which one I chose. But you can see, yeah, it's an inward blur, so it's coming in. Had I made it look like I was moving away from the subject, the lines would be going in the other direction. It's pretty neat though, isn't it? So the mask was a little outside of maybe what I should have done. But you do see what we have here, and when you're done with it you can select none and see what it looks like. There's a little bit of a sort of gap between what I selected and where the motion blur happened. But you can try different things. I mean, if I undid this and undid this again, undid the motion blur and come back, now of course it's going to have to render again. You could try blurring maybe with a pixel blur and choose the size of your pixels now, because this image is so huge that a pixel size of 10 might not be big enough. Keep the height and width the same. Now of course it's going to render again, but just try something like this and you can see how it's going to change, then undo, and try different selection, try different blur or filter. Oh, that's going pretty quick actually. So here's the, so I'm sort of pixelating the background. I can still tell what things are. So if you were trying to say hide, let's say you took a photo and you didn't want the people in the background to be identified, you could do the same sort of thing and blur with pixels. And in this case I'll choose a, let me choose a large pixel, maybe 100. Go both ways and see what that looks like. And I mean, there's no way that you'd be able to identify the people or the objects in the background. So that's the end of this video. Try it with a couple different images. Practice the steps necessary for the quick mask. It'll take you a little bit of practice to remember how to do this. So watch the video over and over again, you know, fast forward, rewind, whatever you need to do. And this is where you're going to start having a lot of fun with GIMP, is by working with the filters.